How's it going, guys?
What's up? It's Bobby Sapphire, honestly sarcastic with the Hyperscoops. If you didn't hear yet, you probably heard that the Hyperloops came in first and second at another Northeast Regional. This would be the second. Joe and I came in top two in New Jersey. Cuenca and I just came in top two in Connecticut. Since I can't go to Nova still because my wife's having a baby, I scooped it up. We're going to play for the trophy later on TTS. And we'll hide that behind a paywall. Sound good to you?
Yes, a very timed paywall.
Yeah, very time-sensitive paywall. I'll probably do like 24, 48 hours. Anyway, I played Ayla, Ray 2, which I've just been calling Stairs. So everyone else, want to call it Pumpkin Spice Latte, go for it. You want to call it Mean Girls, go for it. It's my gift to you that you can call it whatever the hell you want. I don't care. Because all I did was make a beautiful deck for you. Even though other people have been talking about it this week. Did they play it at their regional? Did they come in top two at their regional? Did they
have another regional?
Did they even have a regional to go to? Well, I'm taking them all back. So I think that the deck is really good. I think that a lot of my games were won by me being able to take advantage of the flexibility and the tankiness of the deck and not make critical misplays where some of my opponents made critical misplays. And because I'm able to, when I make misplays, they tend to be smaller in scale, not detrimental to like my ability to win. I find that is what puts it over the top. So while Ray 2 Ayla wasn't a deck going into this week, like when we all went to bed on Friday night, that wasn't a deck. No one had talked about it. It didn't exist. I think goes to show a little bit that. And I think you have a good point on this, is that there's so many good cards, it doesn't really matter how you win, you just need to put yourself in a good position to win with 30 good cards.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of available options, and what he was talking about was something I didn't say here. We were just talking about like what we wanted to talk about, and what it is that you don't really have to go and use whatever just won. There's a lot of methods to win, in general, and we're kind of going above and beyond a lot of the times, and I don't mean like, oh, we're creating some brand new deck so the meta has some new deck. We're really just going like counter, because you're currently looking at like a Boba 7th meta, and there were a shit ton of Boba 7th today, like a crap ton. And what is like the aggro melee slow deck lose to? A bunch of shields. Like, sure, they could have access to like Intimidate, and like their show 2 might be okay, but the dilemma is that like mono blue hero can generate enough shields and put enough damage at like solid pace that you lose your guy and their guy's still barely alive, and they have many better blowout cards in the match because Force Misdirection fucking ruins your shit.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, I rolled out, cool, I got like 6 damage, and then it's like, oh, Force Misdirection, yeah, you got nothing. Fucker.
Right, further exacerbated by the fact that it's a heavy melee meta. But even just like I played against Yoda Hondo today and like Ayla's specials there, or I had a huge force misdirection against Cuenca in our Swiss game when I was able to force misdirect like 2 or 3 indirect damage dice. It was just like so huge, and you need that against vehicles to like, we've talked about this a lot in the Hyperloops in my articles, specifically like time walking people. Like you need that. You need to be able to blow out their turn. And other than their ability, like Ayla Ray's ability to like misdirection better, and CQA, like very strongly, I wouldn't like it as much as R2P2. And going into when I went to bed on Saturday, I was playing R2P2 at this regional, and I had a dream about Ayla and Ray and Profitable Connection, and I forced myself when I dream about cards to put them on the table, and it just cranked all week, and I like ramping so hard. With double binds, double reaping, and like I just had so many upgrades out this week, just so many upgrades. It was great. Because I don't even think it shields up that well. I don't think it shields up as well as Poe does at all.
It does not shield up as well as Poe does, but it can effectively put out smoother paces of damage.
Yeah.
And like your weapon lineup is much less clunky.
Yeah.
Because like the thing is when Ray goes down, because people know that she's a big bitch, and then Poe's sitting there with like melee sides.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, this is fucking terrible. But when Ayla's just like, hey,
I'll take these.
I'll take the Ray Saber and Heirloom. Thank you.
Yep.
And then you're like, oh shit, that special finally came up. And you're like, fix me to a 3. Fuck your shit.
Ayla's
like,
special is so freaking good.
It's ridiculous.
Like chaining her specials to fix 2 of their dice. I did that all day. Well, not all day, because my Ayla didn't roll a lot of specials today, but when I did roll them, man, it was so good. But yeah, just definitely. Like, it really doesn't matter. What do I want to say? It doesn't matter what you play. You just have to, like, you don't always have to play what the meta is. Like, we were just talking in the Discord, and like, people were crediting the Destiny Council, a good group of players who don't necessarily play the meta thing. They play good decks, and they do really well repeatedly. You know, and I feel like, you know, we're doing a pretty good job of that. You know, I made the top 2, my 2 regionals with 2 different decks. You know, and a lot of people tried to say that Sabine Ezra isn't a high skill deck or whatever, but I'd like to see all those people go take Ayla Ray to their top 2 of their regional.
Even taking Sabine Ezra right now, you don't even see it doing very well, because like the meta right now at the current stage really does crap all over Sabine, and that's why you don't really see it do too well. Because the thing is that there'll be too many times where you're like, oh, you know, I got my 5-6 off, but then Sabine died and the game ended.
Yep.
So like, the thing is that the decks that can do that are great if you can protect, and when you can't protect, you have a problem. And that's why Bobo loves the whole middle theory, which is great. And my ass sits there on like my one. I have a single middle and 2 smalls, but I'm getting like triple untaps into like liquid Maul Saber Death. So like, but today I played Thrawn Talzin. So the reason I did this may or may not be known, but you can get word of mouth and maybe you'll figure it out. But long story short, so I played Thrawn Talzin, and I didn't have a ton of reps with it. I got some testing online, you know, did the normal stuff with the Discord, and then I had like my own other types of brews. I made the adjustment back to Thrawn Talzin just for today's event, because my other decks I was working on were a little clunkier, and I really wanted to play Thrawn to get a better feel for kind of like what's going on in general.
Yeah, you've been working on Thrawn a lot.
Yeah, and like another good thing is that Thrawn's amazing at scouting. So like, if you just think of it from like a team aspect, playing Thrawn gives you a lot of valuable information. So like, for instance, Bobo's top 4 match was against the guy I played round 2. So for the most part, I've seen like his deck. I can make a pretty great understanding of the way he's going to play and whatnot. I didn't sit there and explain it to Bobo, because I didn't notice he was playing that guy until it was kind of too late. But if I was a great teammate instead of just a good one, I would have been there for him. And he would have talked about it.
He would have warned me about sound the alarm before I represented 9 melee with an Ayla special. He didn't have it, but God, if he did have it, I wouldn't be driving with my pants on the seat right now, because I'd be hovering above with my shitty pants.
You'd have to stack of poop that came out of his butthole. So yeah, what we're talking about, there was a point where Bobo's sitting on like a +2, and another base 2. He's got like 3 more dice, but the 7th sister has 3 damage on her and an ancient. Now he has Bobo himself has an ancient that's on like a shield or whatever, but he has an Ayla special. So now, instead of being a fool and doing the 6, then the guy ancients, and then he Ayla specials into like a 2 or something, he instead immediately Ayla's into plus 3 more, so he'd have 9. So even when the guy ancients, it would die. But the problem is that if the opponent pro'd the shit out of him and had to sound the alarm,
oh my God, I would have been so wrecked.
The poop would have just flew, man. It would have been everywhere.
I would have been on tilt. That Kylo tilt, like when you call the wrong color with Kylo 3 times in a row.
Yeah, you call gray 3 times. Gray. You call gray at the point where you... Yeah, you're like, blue, it's a gray. Blue, it's a gray. Blue, it's a gray. All right, I'm going to call gray. And then fucking hits the blue. You flip the table, you get banned from TTS. Like,
anyway, back to the matter at hand.
I don't even know what we're talking about.
I don't know either. But I just want to say that it was a great day. I really enjoy scooping to my teammates in the finals of regionals. That's been really great. I'm proud to be able to do it twice to each of my teammates. Makes me a really great teammate. I'm basically the greatest teammate ever. I can't think of anyone else who would do that for you jabronis.
And that's him pre-prepping himself. So come time Worlds, if we go 1-2 there, he's like,
I just want the mat.
I just want
the Darksaber mat.
He's like, you guys are in debt. I scooped to you guys. You got to give me the mat.
Got to give me that mat,
Give me the Darksaber.
That Darksaber mat is dope.
And then if we say anything, all of a sudden it's a flying brick to the dome.
Oh, I did want to say.
He grabs the mat and he runs.
I did want to say about the Sabine thing that came up earlier. I played against a Sabine, and he sold out all his dice, all his cards to kill Ray round 2 before she resolved any of her dice. But heirloom redeploy, Ayla gets a light bow. He's on 6 damage. He's got nothing else, and I had like 4 cards to re-roll and get that 5 damage. And Ayla fully tanked, or not even fully tanked, but close to it, versus Yoda, like with an X8. I mean, I'm gonna get there all day.
Yep, did her job.
Middle.
You didn't fuck up, Ayla.
You done a good job,
You done a good job, Ayla. Good job, Ayla.
You can go to the ice cream social tomorrow. I mean, I don't know what else to really say. I'm just fucking psyched that we went 1-2 again.
Yep.
It's just kind of sick to do it with different decks when all the haters, the Sabine Ezra haters, didn't want to give me any credit. But maybe for the next regional, I'll just bring a ham sandwich, or maybe I'll let people choose what I play, or I'll just heartwarm people.
No,
but like,
there'll be no heartwarming.
If Sabine Ezra's gone, I feel pretty good about heartwarming. If Sabine Ezra's out of the meta, I like heartwarming people a lot.
If Sabine Ezra and Brotique out of the meta, I think you feel pretty good about heartwarming.
Good point.
Yeah, against the shield shit, you're like, whatever, this is fine. So yeah, I know where we left off. We left off from being good versus a great teammate. But anyways, so I talked to John Magnus in the Destiny Council to pretty much get a heads up on Thrawn 1000. Because like the thing is, I didn't get a ton of testing. So we talked a bit about like the Boba 7th match. We talked about like additions to the deck, like because I made a bunch of alterations because I played his version and there was a lot of stuff I didn't like. And when we talked about the like adjustments, he had already made similar adjustments to mine, so I felt like I was in a good place. Since since I'm making adjustments to the deck, and they tend to be in line with what I guess the creator it was also doing, then it felt like I was on the right track. So he's gonna make some of the adjustments I showed him for my version, and my version in general is on our Discord for the tournament prep tier. So he's gonna make some adjustments to those. We'll probably like keep in touch a bit about that because I plan to play Thrawn some more. I feel like everybody should play Thrawn 1000, and what I mean by this is not, oh my god, this is the best deck ever. I mean, the reason you should play this is because it kind of opens your eyes to counting actions, knowing when we're gonna claim, the counterpoints of, okay, they have this, that, they're gonna do this, I can go do that, this will force them to do this, then we do this, and then they'll claim because they have to, because if not, I can claim and get this done or whatever. So like this small back and forth is a huge point in learning kind of like advanced metrics in Destiny. And if your skill level needs to increase, you could potentially learn a lot here, assuming that you're kind of capable of learning. Like there's a lot of people just play and be like, oh, you rolled good or whatever, and like,
yeah, we're definitely talking from, people who follow us know that like we're always talking from a point of view of we're trying to get better and we need to be willing to learn. And well, not to get sidetracked, but like Thrawn will make you a better player. It'll make you better understand the meta. You just have to go into every single round when you look at their hand with some kind of analytical goal, whether or not it's, did I choose the right card, wrong card? Did I choose the right number, wrong number? And how many actions are there before I have to claim? It really helps figuring those things out, and those are things that we should be doing every round of Destiny, but we don't, because it's a lot of thinking and there's a lot of decisions to be made. But Thrawn makes it easier to see those and get in the habit of making those decisions and seeing those, seeing that sequencing of how many actions there are left in a round.
Yeah, you can also kind of get the feel, because let's say you get tons of repetitions with it, stuff starts to look similar when you're not playing Thrawn. So it'll be like, all right, your opponent's Obi rolls out immediately. They have 3 resources. Why didn't he play his upgrade first? okay, he's probably going to have a hyperspace jump. Like, but you would have seen in his hand with Thrawn already what was going on, or like kind of been like, all right, well, what can he do here that I'd be pretty upset about? Oh yeah, if he rolls out Maz 4 speeds, does 2 shit, punches you in the face, and then jumps away on his way out.
And that's honest. That's a tenet of teaching. It's just like connecting to prior knowledge. And with Thrawn, it gives you a lot more prior knowledge because you're getting so much more information.
Mm-hmm. So it was definitely good for me. So my official record is 5-3. I was 5-2 going to the last round playing our friend Mike Schnoo. He does not have his Worlds ticket. Unbeknownst to him, I was intending to scoop entirely. So we play it out. I beat him. I fill out the match slip in his name. Don't say shit to him. Do it, and then he's like, "Why am I in 10th place?" And it's like, "Cause you won." And he's like, "What? Okay."
Yeah, it would have been nice to try and get him into the top 8. But
yeah, it was the hope to get him in there so that he could try to, potentially win out, get his world seat, and we'd be all good to go. But
yeah, definitely not trying to like steal world seats from people, but
yeah, we are. That's not a theft. It's like when you donate the fucking buy to me in Nationals.
Okay, whatever. I'm just saying, like, I'm not going to scoop in the top 4 or anything, but I don't know if the other people wanted their world seat. I didn't even think about it. Whatever. Anything else interesting to say? Man, I really... Oh, shit. Where am I going? I really love taking a new deck to a tournament, doing well. Like, I love working on a deck, posting it in the Discord. For anyone who follows us, like, I have so many Ayla Ray videos from this week. I played my TTS League matches with it. I did a bunch of testing. I have at least a half dozen games to upload tonight, along with the deck list, which I know, a couple people have been talking to me about, like, what's in there. Are there a lot of gray cards? Do you have raised staff? Do you have vibro knives?
Do you have just scares the shit out of you?
But it doesn't. I played 2 gray cards. Close quarters assault. I played Kylo in the first round. I tested against Kylo this week. Did not feel bad about that matchup at all. It's just the deck can do so much damage, and it's hard to disrupt. It's so consistent. And what was the other point I was going to make?
Playing new decks, not deck list. Oh, net deck, I don't know.
Oh, like, it's not that different from my R2-P2 list. I kind of just ported it over. Obviously cut the red cards and did some different things. But Ray 2 with Shotos is fucking gross. She's so good.
Because Shotos
and people ask me, multiple people ask me, why Ayla Ray over Ayla Padawans? Ayla Padawans is 24 health. Ray is 21 health. Like, with Ray, it's 21 health. And you get those shields consistently, you end up being more than a 24 health deck over the course of the game. And I'm doing 1 free damage most every turn. And once Ray's tanked up, she's just a beast.
So essentially, like, for that differential, you're looking at starting the game with potential 2 resources versus a more control-y die, or like tanky type die. Because the thing is that a Padawan die is very aggressive. 1/1/2 focus resource.
Yeah.
Whereas Ray, we're looking at 1/2 discard shield resource. So we're effectively looking at 1 damage and a focus versus a shield and a discard. So now 1 damage and a focus, in theory, is just so much better. But when you take into account that the shield is essentially 1 life, and they're like, okay, well, this is the same as 1 damage. Now we're looking at discard versus focus. But with Ray, the shield actually represents damage, because really, if you go into the next round, you're activating and you're going to get your 1 off your ability. So now, like, that 1 damage has been replaced solely by the ability. And if they don't attack her and they go after Ayla, then you're looking, what? Round 5 is when they're realistically trying to kill you, because your deck's a tanky deck. So if you've gotten 5 pings off, or you get into like that 1v1 situation of Ray versus whoever, and Ray sitting on Shotos, you're looking at, okay, they've pretty much gained 2 health around and dealt me 1 off of just activating. And like, that's a huge thing, especially in attrition type decks, which is what that is. So, like, overall, they're also, because they're starting with 3 resources, it's not as bad. Like, your Ayla Padawans is starting with 4 in theory, but you're actually starting with 3 with that deck. So you could toss the 3 on Ayla, you could toss the 3 on Rey, and the thing is that it's a 10 or 11 health character. With the 14 on double Padawan, it's kind of different because the expectation is, well, you have 14 health versus 11. It's like, no, you have 7 health before you lose a die. So if Rey said she'd take 6 damage and then she no longer was elite, then it would be much more comparable. But it's really hard to go and do 11 damage by the end of round 2 through the shields. You can easily kill a Padawan at some point in round 2. Like, regardless of what's going on.
Yeah.
And that right there means, okay, the die's gone. Did you try to play, like, redeploy games? Did your opponent get to go through most of the round because you didn't want to activate your guy because of the redeploy games? Like, what's going on? And it's not that Ayla double Padawans is not good, because Eric Wainwright has proven wrong or otherwise on multiple occasions.
Yep, it's definitely good.
It's just that they're different, so based on how you want to go is, you know, whatever. Eric Wainwright plays that shit real aggressive, like, start with 6 guards in hand, he's jamming down 2 upgrades, he's re-rolling like a madman, a little bit lighter on the removal, but he's blowing damage through.
Yep.
Rey is just, you know, a bit more control-y. She wants to get that discard side. She wants to see QA you for a couple cards, and then be like, oh, boom, bitch, I'm going to take this discard. I ain't re-rolling nothing. Fuck you.
Her discard sides were amazing today, and we knew that they'd be amazing in the meta.
Yep.
Just the control aspect. Like, there's so many rounds where it's like, all right, I could go aggressive trying to get a few extra points here, or I could just continue to tank up and go into the next round. Just so many games my opponent couldn't finish off one of my characters, either like with a well-timed caution or just like a late force illusion or something. So I just really, really liked it, and it was really important to me, especially since the motherfuckers tried to say that like we don't actually try and prepare our people like in a way that like we wouldn't give them the goods. 2 weeks ago, I wrote about why I think Rey 2 is a really important character that's being overlooked, and this past week I wrote about the importance of having middle characters, and I brought both. I brought Rey, I brought middle deck, and it went really, really well. And I'm so excited to like post my deck list for the crew tomorrow. Like, I love that shit.
Who the hell are you even talking about that still shares shit? Like, is it still the stupid idiot from before?
I don't know who that is.
Yeah.
But I listen to everything.
Alright, so
I listen for all my haters.
Yes.
I let my haters be my motivators.
It feels like I wish I watched Star Wars so that I could talk about Palpatine and feeling the hatred and using it or feeding it or whatever to do something with. But I don't know about that shit.
Alright. 22 minutes, we should probably go. Couple words of advice. Play with good players and lose to them often. It'll make you better. I lose a lot to this jabroni, and it makes me better. I mean, only one of us top 2 both his regionals. He doesn't have the benefit of losing to his teammates often, so I am the one who benefited.
Yeah, I either just go like 1 or I just don't make top cut. Like, that's how it works.
Alright, so we'll see you next time at PAX Unplugged for the GQs. PAX East plugged for the GQs. Thanks for watching. Thanks for all your support, all my Patreon subscribers. I hope you loved your your power action tokens today. I didn't have any power actions in my deck, sad, but I did some overwriting and it was a blast.
Also, fuck, what did we just talk about? Oh, we're gonna try to do this shit at Worlds. And no, we're not cocky enough to say we're gonna do it, but for sure, damn sure we're gonna try. And then we're gonna run away without playing the finals. And we're gonna do it on TTS.
And tell people that.
Just like this, because it'd be fucking hilarious.
It would be hilarious. That's a lofty goal. There are going to be a lot of awesome players at Worlds. I'm super excited for the Worlds competition because like Destiny Council is super good. Like the Artificery guys have been killing it. I think it'll be a really solid matchup between like the East, the West, the Middle, and the Field. I'm really looking forward to it. Hell or high water, because it's going to be really tough to do well. But I feel like we've definitely proven ourselves on the national level and the regional level, and now it's time to go to Worlds.
What were we talking about before that? There was something I wanted to say, but my brain farted and I can't remember. It was after haters, but before you try to say bye.
I get nothing. We're talking about decks, choosing opponents, being good teammates.
No, it's near the end. I don't know. I feel like you're talking about haters.
I listen to everything.
Being good players.
Oh, I said that like someone criticized us. Another podcast criticized us for not preparing our Patreon subscribers.
Oh. Yeah, no. Whoever says that's retarded.
Don't say retarded.
Well, because no, fuck you. So, no.
Okay.
The people that you guys are referring to when I'm saying retarded.
Don't double down.
Not those people.
Don't double down.
I'm tripling down. Triple down.
All right.
6 and 2, baby. Double down.
Double down.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, there's just lots of interesting stuff, and I don't want to say bye because this is 25-22.
All right.
All right. Done. I can't think of anything. Discord stuff. We love you guys.
We
Thanks
love
for the
you.
support.
Do it
Let
for
us know
you.
If you got questions.
Do this for you.
And we'll try to get you better info on the 2 decks we played. You guys will see a vlog in general about Thrawn Towson some more, and pretty much the feedback I got throughout the event. And there should be a lot of good stuff in general because I think I've seen into the eyes of a lot of the current meta options. But oh yeah, so yeah, like you don't have to play what won last week. Like think about the counters. I think we've been pretty spot on going into events, knowing what the meta's looking like and how to best cope with it.
I'll give us that.
Yeah, like the whole mono blue hero shields in general, just like the tankier hero decks are very good versus like the whole Boba 7th aggro setups.
And this was this was a great week to bring vehicles back.
Yeah.
Cuenca brought vehicles, and he did great.
Oh yeah, that was the other thing. So in case you guys misunderstand, I'm not either of the 1-2. That was Cuenca.
Yeah, it was me and
happens
NJ
to be in
Cuenca.
the other car.
Yeah.
So in case that gets mistaken, and you're like, what the fuck are they talking about? It was the third Hyperloop who doesn't wear the Hyperloop shirt or come in the car.
Not wearing the Hyperloop shirt. Fucking Nick, man. Fucking Nick. Yeah, I mean, if you can believe it, Honestly Sarcastic did not win an event. Shocking.
I didn't win Nova. I got every other one, baby. Every other one.
TTS Season 5 playoffs coming up.
I hope I'm there as a 3 and 5 because I try to play FN like a boss. I'm
5 and 2. Got one game to play in the next 72 hours or 48 hours or whatever. I'm not sure what I would take in the top cut. But I think Nick made the right call. There were a lot of vehicles in the field today. He was the only one that made the top 8. I think a lot of them got knocked out by Yoda Hondo because there were 2 Yoda Hondo players that just tore up everybody. They were both
definitely.
like one was 8-0 and one was 7-1 and only lost the mirror.
Yep.
Nick's a really good player and he was able to beat the 8-0 guy in the top 4.
Yep.
And I'll be writing about my deck on Monday or Tuesday. Standard Bobby Sapphire Monday article telling you to get good.
So yeah, Yoda Hondo is real strong, guys.
Yeah, that's going to be something that we're going to have to take a look at. It was gross. Lone operative, cunning, special chaining. The special chaining was completely out of hand.
Yep. Ball Saber is amazing, except versus decks that make a bunch of shields after you've resolved it, and then you just don't have enough base sides. So like OTK in general would have a problem against that. Boba 7th may be capable of dealing the additional damage to get through, but at some point they can block out your whole Maul setup.
I was going deep with like playing late round override, raise lightsabers, late round, Jedi robes, resolving shields late, just like going real deep, and then in addition to that, having force misdirections and hidden motives made Maul's saber like, as long as I had something in my hand, I felt really good about what Maul's saber it couldn't do anything to me.
Yeah, and so we'll definitely see changes coming up. So like I said, the whole mono blue hero shield stuff and vehicles should see it pretty much making a comeback now because they cope very well with the whole 20 health, 21 health set of character decks. And if you can generate shields with Republic cruisers and just make fucking Maul Saber hate life, then it's really just a regular weapon at that point. It's just when you get to power action it and use that die twice per round, it's ridiculous. But if you're sitting there with your Ayla, Rose, Ezra, and you're getting triple shield, it's going to be near impossible to use Maul Saber and effectively take guys off the table in time. So we'll probably see the scale back of villain a bit for hero, and I think we're in such a healthy meta right now that we may not even see any nerfs unless the playtesters and FFG are kind of like out of their minds. I'm this is probably the best meta I've seen. Like, even Awakenings to me wasn't like this. Like, to me, Awakenings was Rainbow Troopers, and you guys really didn't have the benefit of, you know, living through that, or the Massachusetts metaphor. And it looked like it was pretty much like the whole Phasma, Vala, Trooper, and Vader, or Vader Raider. And then after that, we've got Rainbow Nines and fucking Poe into, like, Sabine, and then R2-P2. And, like, in that intermediary, we had fucking Kylo FN. So, like, we've never been at a point where, you know, months in a row, week after week, months in a row, we're looking at, like,
things are changing,
new decks and whatnot. So, like, Boba 7th won for a couple times, but I think it's because people just really weren't prepared and don't know how to cope with it. But you're seeing the stronger players who do well week after week coming in with their different variations that tend to be, like, counter setups, or at least we do that very, very often. Like, we are pretty much well-rounded. We can play all sorts of types of decks. So we're often just going, all right, well, what counters the meta? All right, let's get the reps in. All right, let's go. And they're like, so sure, 6-2 into the top cut isn't amazing for either of us. He's better breakers, but once we eat the top cut, Hyperloops with Juggernauts, baby. We know what's going down. We understand the matches. And
that's
squad life. That's what I wanted to talk about. Yeah.
So in round 8, I got paired up against our buddy Brian Johnson, Phobos, in the Discord. We looked at our breakers. We were at the top table of the X and Ones. Both our breakers were over 60%. There was one guy ahead of us, and then there was one guy, and then there was Cuenca, whose, like, tiebreakers were ridiculous, like 68%. So we knew that win or lose, we were probably both in. He beat me. He was Yoda Hondo. I tried to go after Hondo. I got 3 damage on him, and then he, like, played a really early second chance. It was mitigating all my damage with entangles and easy pickings. And I'll say Rebel was such a great addition to that deck. Like, Rebel to make all of your removal double it's just really, really strong. But, you know, so I lost, still made the top 8. Talked to Joe before the top 8 because I had to play Brian again. Excuse me. And, you know, Joe and I just spent, like, I don't know, 4 minutes talking about the matchup and why I should go all out for Yoda first. I can battle through Force Illusions, then once Yoda's dead, he has to roll natties on all his Hondo dice. And I can mitigate them easier. Between reaping, it binds all things, and, like, just taking resource sides, like, I never had to take damage from Hondo unless I really, really wanted to. Or, like, force him to do those disrupts, and if he's disrupting with Hondo's dice, then that's not doing 3 damage, so, like, it's still fine. Shit, what was I gonna say?
And you don't, like, by attacking Yoda, you get to stay off of the second chance.
Right.
And not, like, kind of fall into that trap where you go after Hondo, and then, like, you get delayed via second chances into the next round. Now they Force Illusion, you go another round further, and you've probably lost a guy by that point, because we're talking, like, round 2, you're attempted to kill, then second chance of Force Illusions. So, like, you're going to round 4, you still haven't killed one of them.
Yeah.
And they've got their upgrades, and they've already started blowing you apart.
Cunning for, like, lone operative twice.
Yeah.
The point I wanted to make was just, like, and then being very conscious of hyperspace jump and, like, never sitting back with your guys unexhausted, like, unactivated, and getting those guys activated so that, like, even when he jumped once in the top 4, Brian did, and I had already resolved all my damage, and I think I was sitting on, like, discard resource, and that's when he jumped. And it's like, okay, like, if that's when you want to jump, that, you know, by all means, I'll take that trade all day.
Yeah, it's real tough sometimes. Like, a jump there is pretty bad. Like, you almost just claim, because jumping when you don't have the battlefield can just be so detrimental.
Yeah.
Unless, like, you have, like, crazy action cheats.
And then, I mean, playing against jump decks, it takes some skill and some know-how, and like, I always I reach for a claim at some point, for sure. Yeah.
Well, like, especially late game, it's actually kind of amazing how many people, or how many players are not amazing with late game. There's a whole thing with, like, not resolving your dice and making sure you get to the battlefield so that you can be first going into the next round, so you can roll out lethal and try to get the win.
Yeah.
But, like, that's kind of like a whole learning process and discussion stuff, so we're not going to, like, go in depth on that, but it's imperative to make sure you get full solid reps, not just half game reps.
Yeah, Destiny, quitting halfway through games in Destiny, if you're trying to get better, is not advised.
Yeah.
And like a really interesting, like even just putting your opponent in rough position in top 4. Like my opponent's showing. I have the battlefield. My opponent is showing a disrupt on his only die. He's got no hand. I have a resource showing. It's my action. I take the resource. Then he has to choose to either disrupt or claim. And like I'm very happy with either. And like that's the kind of position you want to be in, and like making sure that you put yourself in, and not just doing the claim. I mean, unless you obviously really, really need to claim. But
well, like you get the decision,
right?
And that's the thing. Like being in that position is often much better, because you could just like, I want the battlefield. We've done nothing. I got the resource. Now, if he takes the disrupt, whatever, I'll take the battlefield. I'm okay with either or. But you'd probably prefer the resource if you just grabbed it, because if you didn't care and you were fine, you just wanted to claim, you would have done it. So in those situations, you kind of get to give them the choice or the chance to mess up.
Right. Yeah.
Or at least put you in what you want. But yeah.
All right. Well, we're almost to Joe's car, so we should call it. This is turning into Return to the King. I feel like we've tried to say bye like 3 times.
I didn't let him. You're welcome.
Thanks, Frodo.
Bitches.
All right. Good games, and scoops on top.
Hyperscoops.
Hyperscoops.
Deuces. You just took a picture. Good job.